River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Parlay episode of Niner Nuts. I am Dan here with just James this time, back like the good old days. James, say hello.
Just James? What? Just James? Come on.
Just James. No.
Yeah,
you and Kim need to watch that if you haven't on HBO yet.
What? What's that?
The Barbie movie, the song.
Oh yeah, we did watch it.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
And since we have a little bit of time, let me get your opinion on this, because the day after I watched the movie, right? You know, I tell some of the people that I worked with that I watched the Barbie movie and it was really, really good. One person had watched it, the other person hadn't. The person who watched it proceeds to give away the whole movie and the endings and everything like that to the person who's never seen it. And like, I'm just thinking in my head, what kind of jerk are you? You just gotta tell everybody you just tell her the whole freaking story, and you know.
Is that the question? Because I agree, he's a jerk.
Yeah, it was a she. And I was just like, to me, that's rude. Like, if you did that to me, I'd be like, hey, I want to watch it. Don't tell me the whole freaking story. You know?
Oh, dude. If like that's a movie I would recommend going in somewhat blind. Like, at this point, like, if you don't know, it's a fairly feminist, like, I'm not trying to say much more than that. Like, that's kind of on you. I'm kind of impressed, but no, don't ruin. Like, I watched this movie Saltburn on Prime, and if someone spoiled for me what happens in Saltburn instead of me experiencing it all in real time, I would have been so mad, because that movie's so wild. If I described the spoilers to you, I'd be shocked if you believed any of what happened in Saltburn actually happens. Like, it's a wild movie. Yeah. So like, it should be a rule just in general. Like, just don't be earmuffs. Don't be a dick. Don't spoil movies.
Yeah, like, especially newer movies. Like, if it's an old movie like 30 years ago or something like that, and you don't know how, like, you know, maybe the person really isn't like into older movies or whatever, like, okay, like maybe that's okay, you know. But you know, Barbie just came out. It's in the Oscar list. It's not even like a year old, and you're spoiling it for people. Like, that's just wrong.
No, don't be. Let's call her Karen. Why not? I don't care about her. It's a good extension of Karen.
Yeah.
And then, I give it a huge thumbs up too. I adored Barbie. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was a good movie, and I think Ryan Gosling was great in it. You know, like, just
hysterical.
Yeah,
he's so funny.
Yeah, you know. So
and yeah,
I beach. You know?
I feel bad that since we might as well. This is a short parlay. I think it sucks that Greta and Margot didn't get nominated for actress and director. I mean, they did get screenplay and best picture nods. Margot was a producer and Greta was a screenplay writer, or one of the writers. But no, the fact that I can't even quantify which one is more disappointing than the other one. Like, I don't know. There's bigger fish to fry. But I mean, yeah, no, I agree. I was very, very shocked that neither of them got nominated for actress and director. But yeah. It's what it is. It sucks, but no.
Just because there's not a single, you know, long take in the movie, like that's basically what wins you Academy Awards, is how many long takes you can put in your movie. Like,
I haven't seen Zone of Interest or Anatomy of a Fall yet. I've heard they're great. I'm gonna try to see them in theaters. But those took a lot of award nominations that I think Barbie could have. I think they were both up for Best Director, and they're all up for Best Picture. But Best Actress, I think Anatomy of the Fall's actress took what would have been Margot's Best Actress nomination. I just speculating. I'm not a member, but when I saw how many nominations both of those films got, like, I know Anatomy of a Fall won the Palme d'Or back in Cannes last May, so I'm certain it's a great movie. But I don't know. That's neither here nor there. We're a sports podcast.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer's my current vote for Best Picture, though. I've only seen 4 of them, but Oppenheimer's my favorite film I've seen out of the 8 or 9, however many nominees there were. And Oppenheimer's amazing.
Yeah.
And no, not just because I'm a Nolan fanboy. Like, just objectively, the 4 films I've seen, Oppenheimer's just incredible.
And if I called you a fanboy of anybody, it'd be Zack Snyder, because there's nobody that defends Zack Snyder harder than you, for sure.
And yet I haven't seen Rebel Moon yet. I watched Saltburn. I watched Maestro. I've been trying to watch some of the award contenders. I just put Rebel Moon on the back burner. But yes, I do defend Zack Snyder. I do think he's a very, very talented and great director. I'd love to meet him.
Yeah. I mean, you're
Sucker Punch gets too much crap.
I've never seen anybody fight so hard for Zack Snyder.
No, the Justice League was much better in his version. It was so much better. Army of the Dead was, or whatever it was called. That was a great zombie movie. Sucker Punch, I think it's too much crap. Watchmen's amazing. And I defend the director's cut of Justice, or the Dawn of Justice. The director's cut of Dawn of Justice should supersede the terrible 2.5-hour cut. Anyway, we need to talk about this parlay. It is a small parlay, and I don't mind talking movies. But yeah, guys, we do have. Maybe I should timestamp wherever so people can skip that. Anyway, guys, the Super Bowl's next week. We're doing our parlay now instead of next week. And this is what we got. It's
Yeah, well, we're doing 2 parlays. Let's make this clear. We're doing 2 parlays. We're doing same game parlays with actual like players who are going to play in the game and stuff that has to do with the game. Next week, when the prop bets of like how long the national anthem is going to be and all of that, we're going to put those into a parlay next week and have another parlay episode with that. So we are going to do 2 parlays for the game, one with prop bets from non-football related, and then we have this one, which is the game, what's actually going to happen in the game related. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you for correcting me on that. I did forget. We're still, because we just haven't seen those yet. They haven't come up as of this taping. And before I get into it, disclaimer, if you think you have a problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Please check your local state laws if you can or cannot gamble and how you can gamble. And please bet responsibly. These odds are subject to change. There we go. I'm very bad at doing that before. So
anyway, guys, we called it 2 weeks in a row now. And so we're going to do it again. Christian McCaffrey to have 2 touchdowns. He's just been, when it comes to these games, they seem to rely heavily on him in the red zone, or he's just the type of guy that you give it to him at the 50, a handoff or a pass, he can break something really long. So we think, again, for the 3rd playoff game in a row, Christian McCaffrey will score 2 or more touchdowns in this game.
Oh yeah, I have very little follow up on this. We've leaned on him as heavily as anybody else, the most, honestly. If like as important as Trent Williams' health is, Christian McCaffrey is like equally as important, and he's the engine that makes our offense run. And he scored 2 last week. With how tough that Kansas City secondary is, I try to make an argument that Christian's not going to score again and be like the most important part of our offense, because we're going to have to run it and screen it. Like, yeah, that's like I said in our last episode, I'm scared of that secondary. So Christian McCaffrey, I'm very confident that this will pay off with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, him scoring, over 1.5 touchdowns has been pretty much a decent bet almost all season, pretty much. And so,
yeah, nearly.
So, yeah. So why won't it happen in this game? We don't see any reason for it to not happen in this game. So we're definitely taking that. So next we have Isaiah Pacheco, anytime TD scorer. We think Pacheco has a really good chance to score a touchdown in this game. He's one of their more heavily relied on players for the Chiefs to run their offense. And so we think that this is just pretty like a no-brainer bet to bet Pacheco to have a anytime touchdown score.
Yeah, he's one of, besides Kelsey, he's probably objectively the most productive in terms of like, excuse me, if you want to call it like a fantasy output. Like he and Kelsey are the two biggest contributors to fantasy that come out of Kansas City, besides Patrick Mahomes. And yeah, with how leaky our run defense can be, hopefully we tighten up a little bit. But no, this seems like an extremely safe bet that we're gonna let Pacheco score at least once on us. I've just mentally accepted that since Kansas City definitely wants to see if they can get one on us with how bad our run defense was against the Lions.
Agreed. Yeah, it doesn't seem, and like even against the Packers, that first half, Aaron Jones
Oh
was
yeah.
running all over the place on you. So
Oh
I
yeah.
think,
No, we were bad against Packers too.
yeah, I think that's something Andy Reid will see, take advantage of. So Isaiah Pacheco, anytime touchdown scorer, really another pretty much no brainer for us. Yeah, we haven't hit any of our parlays, so don't just, if we say no brainer, I don't know, take it with a grain of salt because maybe it's not a no brainer. But
Jimmy, this is more like Jimmy B's maybes.
Jimmy B's maybes, yeah. Yeah. So next up, we have Brock Purdy to pass for over 200 yards. I think in both playoff games, even though he had a rough start, he still he still hit the 200-yard mark. And so we think he'll be able to do it again, even if he doesn't have the best first half. We believe the 49ers will make adjustments in the second half, and he'll be able to get to that 200 no problem.
Yeah, this, again, my biggest worry is how Purdy's going to handle this secondary, just because the last every other time we've had good secondaries, Cleveland, yeah, it came down to a missed kick, and it was raining, and then Baltimore caused a lot of tip drills, which in many other times, like that was an outlier kind of fluky game. The fact that 3 tip drills turned into picks, like, oh Jesus Christ, that probably won't happen in this game, but I expect very tight coverage, and he's got to be on his game. But that also means that Christian McCaffrey is going to be relied on a lot more, and their line is not as good as their back seven. So, yeah, Purdy will probably hit 200 yards. That seems pretty safe, but is he going to go that far over 200? I can't say. I'm very confident he would be underdue that way.
Yeah, I mean, both games he went over 200. So, yeah, it should be. He should do it again, even if he has a bad first half. He's playing with a little bit more confidence in the second half, and basically he's able to, 200 yards. Yeah, if he would have said, 220, 225 would probably push it for us as to betting the over on that. But we think 200 yards is reasonable for Purdy to get over and throw for. So.
Yeah, and these are the alternate. This is the alternate because we put this.
I think the over under is like 235.5 or something like that. The actual regular bet. So we adjusted the odds for this. We took alternate odds.
Yeah, 230 was a perfect line to scare people like me. Like,
yeah,
because I'm not confident one way or the other. Like 235 sounds almost exactly where he would be in my mind. That's where I'd be shocked if it was over 230.
Yeah, me too. And so, well, next up we have Christian McCaffrey, combined rushing and receiving yards 100 plus. This is something that McCaffrey has done regularly so far in the playoffs and throughout the entire season. He's the key to the 49ers offense. So we believe he'll have probably the best day overall offensively wise. And so 100 plus receiving, rushing yards combined. That's like another, like, it should happen because he does it pretty much every game.
Yeah, no duh. It's no duh. There's no reason to suspect that everybody's going to be so freaking jazzed to be in this game. Christian especially. I mean, Kittle, we've seen the clip of Kittle, like, I will be back with a vengeance. But for Christian McCaffrey to be here, you know that he is going to hit every hole, hit every open field tackle as hard as possible. Like, I mean, hell, even thinking it, maybe 150 would be too ambitious. 100's good for this ticket. Like, I'm not saying I regret that, but I don't know. He's gonna give it his all. This is a no duh pick.
Yeah. Again, just if you take rushing alone, the last 2 games, I think he hit 90 plus. So that means he'd only have to get 10 yards receiving in order for you to hit this bet. So yeah, look for. So we think this is a pretty simple, easy bet to do. So next up, we have an interesting one. Over 15.5 rushing yards for Deebo Samuel. This is a little bit more, I think, a stretch for me. What's that, Dan?
Sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. I was saying, let's say both of these at the same time. Deebo over 15 and Purdy over 12. Like, both of these, we saw these, and all 3 of us, because Eric was in on this too, we were all just dying laughing at, like, that's all the bar is with how heavy we're going to have to lean on the run game and Purdy scrambling out of the pocket because of that secondary. Like, hell yeah, throw these on here immediately.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's a little bit harder to bet on, but I mean, yeah, I mean, if you're right, you're going to have to rely more heavily on the run game. And so we
have to set a tone like that for us to have a chance, honestly. Like, again, because of that secondary.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, there is a good chance that Deebo could go over 15.5. And we saw Purdy the last game. He went over 12.5, and he is known to scramble. And so, yeah, we think those are pretty low standards to hit those rushing yards.
That's the thing about Purdy, is that he very much is pass first. He never wants to give up the pass unless it's absolutely necessary. And I think that makes him a great scrambler, because I think teams prepare for him to try and take away all the passes that he wants. And then that allows them to overlook that this dude can actually run. Like, he's not running a 440, but he knows how to escape the pocket when it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, he does. He has really good pocket presence. And then when he breaks out of the pocket, he's looking to pass first always. But at times he's tucked it down and made big runs. So it's something to definitely look for in this game, because
it's a hard thing for Kansas City to prepare for, because it makes them focus on, like, he's not going to run like Jared Goff or like other traditional pocket passer quarterbacks that are still in the league. But no, it's a bigger surprise. It'll make it a bigger surprise when Purdy does it. And I think that he can use that to his advantage, because, like, Patrick Mahomes, that's the double-edged sword with him, because he can do both. Purdy doesn't want to do both, but he can.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, that's our very, very tiny ticket for just the players.
Very tiny ticket for the podcast this week.
We had a small ticket last week. Did you eventually watch that? How Eric and I covered that?
I did not. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I mean, we did hit some stuff in that parlay. So I mean, maybe we'll have similar luck, but I think we hit 3 things in the parlay last week, if I remember correctly.
Oh, of course I deleted it. I'd have to re-add it on here.
But yeah, you don't have to. But actually, talking about news, there is a little bit of news, not really breaking, but Cliff Kingsbury has been hired as the offensive coordinator in Las Vegas.
Really?
Yep, as it was reported.
That's a Pacers tip-off notification. That was not. Yeah, oh yeah, here it is. 1 minute ago from Shefty. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. No, that's not a bad hire for Pierce. Not a bad hire at all.
Yeah, well, he was interviewed for the Eagles too. Kingsbury was, but I don't know. I mean, maybe as an OC, he won't waste talent, so we'll see.
It's a very different job being a head coach versus an offensive coordinator, and maybe him just worrying about the offense for Pierce, so Pierce can worry about the defense. Like, but still, Pierce is like the head, the final say, like just not putting all the pressure of the locker room on Kingsbury and just letting him call plays. Like, I think that might be better suited for him because really, I've watched a whole deep dive. Well, no, we've talked about it here on the show. We've been on the show long enough that like Kingsbury starts out pretty good, but then every November and December he craps the bed.
Yeah, that was his MO in Arizona, and so
in Texas Tech.
Yeah, in Texas Tech. So yeah, it's. I mean, it's hopefully he can, I mean, maybe not hopefully, but maybe this is his second chance in the NFL, and he can run his offense and maybe do well. I mean,
it'll depend on who's quarterbacking. If they're going to stick with Aiden, or if they're going to draft somebody else, or if they want to still try with Jimmy. I can't imagine why they want to still try with Jimmy, like unless it's like a good faith, like, hey, Josh sucked for you. We'll give you another chance with a good OC. Like, I don't know. It'll just depend on who the quarterback is.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's the news.
Yeah, an extra little news blurb. I was gonna say, honest to God, I was not keeping track of our timer, but I don't know. It feels like a good time to talk about our sponsor. Do you think?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, did you want to talk movies real quick again? Or like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Well, I mean, we're probably at least at 20 minutes. Guys, we're not tired. This episode is just I don't know. This whole week's just been odd, guys. Just a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, how's wedding planning going?
Not bad. We're going to talk to a caterer this weekend, and we will finally send out like the official invites because we got them. It's just sitting down to write the addresses, like just okay. They will get out eventually, so everybody can have one, and everybody that knows they're going is coming. Like, it's just it's just been crazy. It's just lots of stuff I could tell you off mic, but it's just been crazy. We're definitely not ahead of schedule. I'll put it that way. But no, things are wild. But yeah, no, I kind of like, well, tied into movies. I've been giving AMC money for months and months and months, and for no justifiable reason. If like I had an accountant, they would ask me, why on earth have I been giving AMC money without going to AMC for months?
Yeah,
I've watched so many movies at home.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I mean, the way my life is right now, it's just easier. I've missed so many movies that I would have loved to have seen in theaters, but I mean, I still watch them at home. But like, there's so many times that like I wish I could have gone to the theater and just can't. So I don't know. It's been a lot harder to go to the theater lately. But that's just my life. Please, listeners, go to the theater. Please go. Don't let the theater industry die.
Yeah. And Batman went to the vet today, and they had to give him cheese to take blood. That was something. Yeah, he's a little like the vet said that when he was younger, nobody probably exposed him to a lot, and so he's very anxious at not a lot of new things. And so she recommended we have to give him medication before he goes to the vet to sort of calm him down and, give him less anxiety. He has picked the doctor to be his person when he's at the vet. So they have a good relationship at least.
Okay, that's good.
So they were able to get the blood draw, but he was due for one of his shots. Well, he's due for one of his shots soon. I said, well, if you can do it today, do it today. But they were unable to do it today. So we got to bring him back in like 2 weeks or so. But yeah, he's learning. Batman's learning. He's not being in the house anymore. We're having good stuff.
Yay.
One thing I did learn though is that there's a behavioral therapist for dogs, and that's what she called it. And because to teach Batman how to not like be so anxious in new situations and learn proper techniques. And so she recommended a behavioral specialist for us. And so we're gonna have to look
Okay.
into that. So to help him with his anxiety. So
Okay. That's interesting. We thought our youngest cat was having I don't know, not anxiety, but like I don't know, his first reaction to most anything was to like half go feral, but now that we had to give him some worm medicine lately, but we think in combination of I don't know, I think it's more of a cosmic alignment of we gave him medicine and now he's 2 next month or April, but like getting to a threshold of like this new age for cats because they age really fast, and then maybe he was upset because he had worms in him and we didn't know it for so long. But yeah, no, Winston has gotten much calmer. he doesn't
Yeah.
he doesn't run away if we accidentally like kick a chair or close a door too fast or just get up off the couch. He's much more behaved, but I think I don't know. I think being so close to turning 2 is the biggest factor of that. But yeah, no, I get what you mean. An anxious animal is not fun to wrangle.
Yeah, he's and he, you know, he picked me as his person, so he has definitely less anxiety when I'm close by. But yeah, he went to the vet again today, and so hopefully they give a heartworm test. So everybody, if you're out there, pray that Batman doesn't have heartworms. And
Woo.
yeah, because he
No
did have
heartworms.
heartworms when we got him from the. He had heartworms when he got to the Humane Society, and they gave him all of his treatment. And so we
Ah,
gave the
jeez.
records. Yeah, so he has had his treatment, and yeah, now we just we just need to get him good heartworm medication. And so
Yeah. No, I feel that.
yeah.
But
Yeah. All right,
yeah,
so
I was gonna say for I was gonna say I think that's a good note to a nice little relief and a little peek behind us. We aren't just full blown Niners fans. We do have lives.
yeah.
I will withhold telling you what my day job is, though. But I will talk about our sponsor that has been with us for the entirety of the season, RoyalRetros.com. What is RoyalRetros.com? It is your go-to place for authentic throwback jerseys. They don't just cover football; they cover all major sports as well: baseball, soccer, basketball. Right now, for Niners fans, go check out their candlestick collection. It's curated with us in mind. And when you find something you like, go use Shady Sports when you check out in the promo code section. Promo code Shady Sports, and that will get you 10% off of your entire order. Again, it is promo code Shady Sports when you check out, 10% off of your entire order. It'll help out the channel, it'll help out us, and you'll get a cool, authentic jersey that you can show off to everybody. So go to royalretros.com and go get yourself an authentic throwback jersey today. All right, James, tell the people about the charity we've been doing all year.
So guys, if you a regular follower of the show, you already know this spiel, but if you just come on to us and you're a new person that maybe I met somewhere and you decided to subscribe to our channel and you're listening to this episode, well, we've been raising money for a crisis center in Kentucky, mainly because the NFL owners are not having the proper standards as players do. The NFL has said that owner standards are supposed to be higher than player standards, but when an owner gets into trouble, we don't hear about it from the NFL. But if a player gets in trouble outside the NFL will report on it very quickly. So we don't like that. We feel owner standards are less than player standards. We have that hashtag there. And then just so you know, we put our money where our mouth is. We are selling T-shirts to raise money for a crisis center in Kentucky, who we will have on the show next week. Look out for that. But right now we have our owner standards are less than player standards, hashtag owner accountability. You can get that for $22.99. You can get that in different colors, different sizes. Next, we have our podcast logo art. You'll find this whenever you see our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or our YouTube channel. This is the logo you will see. You can get that on a T-shirt for $22.99. Get you that in a unisex tee, or we have different styles and different sizes as well. Here we have our alternate logo. I have this shirt, very nice shirt. $22.99 gets you that. All different colors, different sizes, different styles. And finally, we have our Niner Nuts mascot. How can you say no to a peanut eating peanuts while cheering for his San Francisco 49ers? $22.99 gets you that and a t-shirt, and all the proceeds go to charity to the Kentucky Crisis Center, who we will have on next week to interview and tell you some of the things that they're doing in the community and how serious sexual crimes are in this nation, and some of the things that we as people need to be concerned about and be aware of.
Yes, and I will appropriately disclaimer, just heads up, some hard discussion points will probably be brought up in this. We're not going to go graphic detail, but it's a big deal. It's something that we've been wanting to talk about this all season. Obviously, as James said, that's why we have done these shirts. That's why we don't want money from these. We want to help out a family in need, because we were just so not inspired. That is definitely not the right word, but yeah, no, that Texan.
We're pissed off that an owner can do something like that, and basically the NFL will just say, nothing to see here. We don't know anything about it. Oh, you found out? Yeah, we do know. Sorry, we didn't tell you because he's an owner,
Yeah, so, even a minority owner. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't know what we're talking about, just look up the Houston Texans minority owner, and what he is in trouble for and what he has been charged with in Kentucky, because it's very serious. And so that's why we picked the charity that we did. That's why we picked the area that we did. And so we hope that you will join us in this cause and donate to that charity and get a cool t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess with that, I should have said it on the last episode with Eric, but I guess I did have a little news blurb to close the show out with that I didn't yesterday on the other episode. But no, Jed York, speaking of owners, he did an interview, a kind of long interview, surprisingly, but he did do an interview, I believe, yesterday. I just watched it today. But he said that last training camp, before the quarterback disaster that we went through, Kyle apparently told him back then, when the roster was, in training camp, it was Trey, Nate, and then Brock. And then we signed Jimmy at the end of training camp. But he told him back then that the best quarterback, in his opinion, on the roster was looking like Brock Purdy. But he then said that he wasn't going to change up the roster. Obviously, Jimmy ended up being starter. Trey was, you know how it all went. Trey was supposed to be starter, then Jimmy, then Brock, because Nate got cut. But God works in mysterious ways, man. And Kyle knew in the back of his mind that maybe we aren't putting our best quarterback out there, but politics, and contracts. And it all ended up working out.
You spent 3 number 1 draft picks to get Trey Lance. It's like, yeah, you kind of have to play him. That's just the way it is in the NFL. If some guy is paid more to do a job, and you have this young kid, but you pay this guy more to come out there and do those things, that 9 times out of 10, that guy's going to be out there while the rookie sits on the bench.
How amazing that is, though, that last year, even though he had to deactivate Purdy a couple times, because I think Purdy was deactivated during those early games, he knew in the back of his mind, like, man, how much better could we be if I could just nurture this kid a little more? Like, yeah, that's just so funny to me that he knew all the way back then that he wasn't putting his best foot forward, so to say. And he just, once he saw Purdy in training camp, oh man, this guy's actually our best quarterback. I just thought that was really funny, and that was the most interesting little nugget that come out of that.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. How high was the standard? How high was the bar? So yeah. Well,
to beat out Nate Sudfeld,
yeah, I know. Like, how high was the bar, really? But yeah, I mean, it's turned out well for the 49ers. We're here in the Super Bowl in his second season. Obviously, the most relevant Mr. Irrelevant there has ever been, and probably ever will be. I doubt we'll ever see this again.
At least in this current, like, oh my God, it's like 100 years or 105 or however long years now it could be generational. Like, this could be, I mean, I'm not trying to get hype it up too hard, but I mean, it could be literally like another whole generation or two until we get another quarterback or a player in general, not even just quarterback, as talented as him as the last pick in the draft.
I mean, considering that Ryan Suckup was the most relevant Mr. Irrelevant ever, and that he was a kicker,
right?
You know, that's what they had to look up to, and so Purdy is definitely famed him by getting to the Super Bowl in his second year, and you know,
so many records. Like not just how young he is, but the fact that he was the lowest drafted, he is the lowest drafted quarterback. But Kurt Warner is now, but he's up there in the same echelon.
Kurt Warner was undrafted, so
it's a weird asterisk between the two of them because like technically, Kurt Warner was undrafted and he's the only undrafted starter, and now Purdy is the last pick to start a Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so the only other pick that was probably that deep was Tom Brady, 6th round, right?
Yeah,
199. We hear it every year that we watch the freaking draft. That's where they got Tom Brady. That's
one record that Purdy's taken away from Brady now.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's taken more than one, but no, it's just that is funny when you think about that. Like, but look at the company he's with. Like, people, 2 players that no one had faith in, and Purdy could be treated at the same sphere as Kurt Warner now. Like,
I mean, it's crazy. If he wins the Super Bowl, then you figure like 3 of some of the quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl that were just low round picks. You have Brady, Purdy, and Kurt Warner, who wasn't even drafted. Like, I mean, that's just crazy. That's the NFL. Like, you never know. You never know what you're going to get from a guy. And, you see something in a guy and you're like, maybe if the right conditions happen, that he could be successful. And then those right conditions happen. And then that guy goes out and performs crazy and like becomes a Hall of Famer, or, goes out and wins Super Bowls or whatever. And it's just, that's the NFL. You just never know who is going to be that guy,
Well, Russell Wilson, no, he wasn't drafted that low. I think he was a 3rd or 4th round pick.
Russell Wilson was 3rd. Yeah, he was a 3rd round pick.
But they paid Matt Flynn, and last week at training camp, they just bit the bullet and said, nope, we're starting Russell Wilson. And then not that year, but the next year they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It happens. It can. Like,
well, look at that Prescott's ascension too. Like, he was
the way he replaced Romo. Yeah.
He was a 4th round pick. Romo was undrafted as well. So like, I mean, the last 2, Cowboys regular starters were no higher than a 4th round pick. So
and then of course Brady and Bledsoe, and then oh my gosh, there's so many of them. Drew Brees, he had to get traded to do it, but Drew Brees was supposed to be behind Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, well, he was supposed to be the supplanted starter. They were decent with him in there, but then of course the opportunity to get Phillip Rivers was there. Drew Brees left, and that's history. And
I guess that's more akin to what happened to Steve Young, because Steve Young crapped the bed with Tampa before he came to us.
Yeah. And there's also the story of Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett was number 1 overall pick who failed miserably, went to go be a backup in Oakland, and ended up leading them to 2 Super Bowls.
Greatest failing upward story ever.
Yeah. You have Nick Foles, who gets drafted by the Eagles I believe he was drafted in the 4th round, by Andy Reid. Andy Reid gets fired, and then Chip Kelly elevates Nick Foles, who throws 7 touchdowns in 1 game, and that's it. He falls off a cliff because he gets traded to St. Louis and for Sam Bradford, and next thing you know, Nick Foles is back in Philly and he wins the Super Bowl. You just never know. You just never know with the NFL what is going to happen. People say it's script writers. Like, come on, who you really, as a script writer, going to say, "Oh, we want Nick Foles to win the Super Bowl"?
Dude, right? No, I'm not wasting my. I'm not. I mean, we're pushing our time, I think, but I don't know. We can complain. That'd be a good episode. How don't care the conspiracies.
Yeah.
I think my internet's getting really bad now too.
Yeah, we might as well just call it. Dan, anything else you'd like to say?
No, just soak in this week and just get ready for the Chiefs. Just enjoy this week, but yeah, I mean, obviously keep our eye on the prize.
All right. With that being said, outro music, River Road, Justin Youth.
Beat the Chiefs. See you next week.
River Road, you got me running way back home. River Road, you got me running all night long. You got me singing some canal boat song. River Road, you got me running all night long. River Road, where have all the women gone? Have they kissed her hand and waved you bye-bye? Have they thought about crossing your double yellow lines? River Road, they love the way you